Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
Breaking news at 10. In the last hour, sources told me police have found the likely murder weapon used in the deadly shooting of a Shelby police officer. Good evening, I'm Allison Lottis. We're told the gun was found behind an abandoned home not far from where Officer Tim Brackeen was shot and killed. Irving Fenner Jr., who is accused of killing Officer Brackeen, will be arraigned in Rhode Island tomorrow. He appeared in court tonight still wearing hospital scrubs after being injured during a shootout.
Your name?
Irving Fenner.
And your date of birth?
June 18, 1993.
Your address?
I don't have one.
Fenner Jr. is being held without bail tonight in Rhode Island. 3 other people from Rhode Island accused of helping Fenner Jr. will be arraigned alongside him tomorrow morning. As Fenner waits to be sent back to North Carolina tonight, family and friends gathered to honor Officer Brackeen. And anchor Scott Wickersham has more on tonight's moving vigil.
Well, Allison, the district attorney says that he will seek the death penalty for Officer Tim Brackeen's killer. But tonight, people gather to celebrate life for a husband and a father gone too soon. It was a night to honor an officer, a family man who was suddenly taken from the Shelby community.
He was a Christian, he was a good father, he was a patriot.
His family and friends and fellow officers all came here tonight to say goodbye to Tim Brackeen and remember what he lived for. Brackeen's tragic death has rallied this small community. His police cruiser now a growing memorial, a local law office creating and selling ribbons to help support his family.
Oh, the soul-thrilling rapture when I view his blessed face.
Senior Pastor Timothy Sims spoke at the service, offering a message of hope through faith in eternal life.
That's their faith. That was Tim's faith. If Tim could make a confession tonight, it would be that he's very much alive and that he's been face to face with his Savior.
And in the hours before Brackeen passed on, days after he was shot, his family was by his side. And tonight, his brother says it was a chance to reflect and even forgive before they let go.
The Spirit of God has fallen in a powerful way in my life, in that I spent time with Timothy and I watched and felt forgiveness, kindness, mercy, and the love of Christ in the most real way that I've ever experienced in my entire life.
Services for Brackeen are scheduled for tomorrow and on Friday. There will be a public visitation tomorrow night at Bethel Baptist Church at 6 o'clock. On Friday, a memorial service is scheduled at Shelby High School's auditorium at 3 p.m.
Thanks, Scott. And we've posted more images from the vigil as well as tributes pouring in for Officer Brackeen at WSOC-TV.com. Just look for this story on the homepage. Now we are following breaking developments in the shooting death of a Union County teacher. Sources told Channel 9 that homicide detectives interviewed this man, Louis Fuqua, just 2 days before he was found dead inside a South Charlotte motel. They were asking him questions about the robbery and shooting of this elementary school teacher, Ruan Guo, in South End on Friday. And new tonight, Eyewitness News reporter Alexa Ashwell is looking into how these two cases could be connected. Alexa.
Yes, Allison, there are a lot of moving parts to both homicide investigations, and police have yet to comment publicly on any connections. Meanwhile, Guo's family, her father and brother, asking for privacy tonight, and a friend of the couple doing his best to help the family. Tonight, new details 5 days after a Union County teacher was shot during an armed robbery in South End. Sources now say Joe Fuqua, who was with Ruan Guo and her boyfriend that night and who was later found shot to death in a hotel, had actually been interviewed by homicide detectives about Guo's case prior to his death.
Absolutely dumbfounded with how everything is unfolding.
Neil Jackson is a friend of the couple. Like many, he's shocked by the twists in the case. On Saturday, the day after Guo was shot, a family member reported that Guo's apartment had been broken into, and neighbors told police they saw a Jeep like Fuqua's in the area. Later that night, sources say police stopped Fuqua on his Jeep, and homicide detectives questioned him about the robbery and shooting of the teacher. 2 days later, Fuqua was found dead.
I don't really know anything about him. I met him at the show that night. I said hello, hey, I'm Neil, thank you for coming, and that was really it.
Jackson is focusing on a benefit concert he's organizing to raise money for Guo's boyfriend so he can attend her funeral in China. The event will be held here at the Kannapolis Performing Arts Center. There will be music, a silent auction, raffle, and more. He said it's the least he can do.
It's absolutely torn me up since I found out.
Now that benefit will be held September 25th. We're going to continue to press police for answers in both homicide cases that may point to the same suspect or suspects. Reporting live uptown, Alexa Ashwell, Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
Alexa, thanks for that report. We've posted more information about the benefit on our website at WSOC-TV.com. Just look for this story on the homepage. Tropical storm Julia is causing severe weather in some southern states with wind gusts up to 40 miles per hour. This is video from Fripp Island, South Carolina, and right now a flash flood warning is in place in Charleston. Chief Meteorologist Steve Udelson tracking the storm in Severe Weather Center 9.
Yeah, Allison, the center of this storm, Julia, is just east of Hilton Head Island, and you can see it's still a long way out from the Charlotte area, over 200 miles. And that, unfortunately, is so far away that we have little shot of seeing some rain. Top sustained winds are still 40 miles per hour. Storms moving northeast at 6. And you can see the showers from Wilmington down through Myrtle Beach, through Charleston. And we have had 3 to 5 inches of rain down here, and more will fall over the next couple of days. We could certainly use some of that. Our rain deficit in and around Charlotte, north of 7¼ inches. When I come back in a few minutes, we'll take a look at through tomorrow, Friday, into the weekend, show you if we'll be able to squeeze out any raindrops.
Thanks, Steve. And we'll continue to monitor the storm's path as it moves closer to the Carolinas. Meteorologists keep Monday. We'll have an update on Eyewitness News Daybreak starting at 4:30 a.m. Another devastating blow to Charlotte. The ACC football championship game yanked from the Queen City. Eyewitness News reporter Deshaun Brown is breaking down the major economic blow to the state all over House Bill 2. Deshaun?
Well, Allison, just from the ACC championship, experts were predicting more than $30 million to be pumped into the state. And right now, this is only the latest event to cancel because of House Bill 2. But officials tell me they're not sure if it's the last one. The hits keep coming.
The ridiculousness of the ACC pulling the game from Charlotte, it hurts.
First, the NBA All-Star Game. Then, 7 NCAA championships pulled from North Carolina. Today, the ACC announced the latest move, pulling all of its championships from the state in direct protest of House Bill 2. Tonight, I spoke with state lawmakers who voted both for and against the bill, all disappointed, but none surprised.
We were warned early on in the process if we lost the All-Star Game, we could expect that the NCAA and the ACC, in addition to the other professional sports franchises in the city of Charlotte, would be under pressure to do the same.
Among the remnants left are the CIAA basketball tournament next year and the Belk Bowl in December. Officials with the Charlotte Regional Visitors Authority told me they don't know what will happen with the Belk Bowl, but a look at its website tonight still shows Charlotte as host for now. So I asked state lawmakers what happens next.
But if the governor were wise, he would call a special session. Let me say this, nobody's asked me.
And in a statement tonight, Governor Pat McCrory stood firm in his stance in support of House Bill 2. He said the issue would play out in the U.S. court system, not just for North Carolina, but for the entire nation. Reporting outside of Bank of America Stadium, Deshaun Brown, Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
Thanks, Deshaun. And our coverage of the ACC exit continues at WSOC-TV.com. We have posted all of our previous stories on the fallout from House Bill 2. New tonight, Jonathan Farrell's family held a candlelight vigil in Marshall Park to mark 3 years since a former CMPD officer shot and killed him. In 2013, Randall West Carrick shot and killed the unarmed man after he was involved in a car accident. Tonight, dozens gathered to reflect on past and present law enforcement procedures.
And we make sure that we continue to let people know how Jonathan was. He was a great person, a smile for a loving person, a caring person. So Jonathan would not ever come back to this earth in the physical form, but as a family, we'll make sure we continue to let his life live on.
On Saturday, Farrell's family will lay a wreath at Bradford Farms, where he was killed. In a matter of hours, former Charlotte Mayor Patrick Cannon will be released from prison. And new tonight, Eyewitness News reporter Joe Bruno is in Morgantown, West Virginia, with more on what we can expect when he walks out.
We're standing in front of the Federal Correctional Institution in Morgantown, West Virginia, where former Charlotte Mayor Patrick Cannon is set to be released from tomorrow. It's been 22 months since we last saw the disgraced former mayor get out of a black SUV and enter the correctional facility. Cannon was sentenced to 44 months in prison after he was found guilty of accepting $50,000 in bribes while he was mayor of Charlotte. Federal officials say Cannon is being released early from prison because he participated in a substance abuse program and has shown good behavior. Once released, he will make the 6-hour trek back to Charlotte and will be on direct home confinement until January 25th. Once he returns to his Ballantyne home, he will have to routinely check in with the probation officer. As you can see, we have a good view of the inmate pickup and drop-off area. For security reasons, prison officials tell me they can't comment on what time Cannon will be released. Reporting in Morgantown, West Virginia, I'm Joe Bruno, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And Joe Bruno will have live coverage from the prison in Morgantown, West Virginia, starting tomorrow morning on Daybreak. We will have complete coverage starting at 4:30 a.m. Happening tomorrow, Hillary Clinton will campaign in Greensboro, North Carolina, and her first campaign stop since taking time off to recover from pneumonia. She is scheduled to appear at a rally at UNC Greensboro at 3:45. Her campaign is also opening a new office in Charlotte tomorrow. Today, Clinton's campaign released more of her medical records to the public. Her doctors say she has regular routine visits and is, quote, healthy and fit to serve as president. Tomorrow, Trump's campaign is expected to release the results of his recent physical exam to coincide with his appearance on the Dr. Oz show. That's where he also shared those results.
Back above 90 degrees this afternoon, familiar territory this summer and now early fall. I'll show you if we'll see a break in the temps anytime soon.
Charlotte's largest banking employer now being questioned by the federal government. The new information they're demanding from the company after thousands of employees were fired. All new at 10, Charlotte's largest banking employer is now being investigated by the Justice Department. Anchor Erica Bryant breaks down the investigation that comes less than a week after Wells Fargo was slapped with a $185 million fine.
That's right, Allison. The Justice Department has issued subpoenas to Wells Fargo for 2 million fake accounts that were opened by bank employees who were trying to reach business goals. Wells Fargo says it fired more than 5,300 people over the past 5 years for improper sales tactics. Employees reported that they experienced relentless pressure and unrealistic sales targets. The scandal has raised some serious concerns in the banking industry about the sales culture. Now, the CEO of Wells Fargo, John Stumpf, said today that any customer who's been affected by this will be reimbursed. He is also apologizing, but says that he has no plans to resign. He said in his first televised interview since the scandal broke that, quote, the best thing I can do is lead this company. Stumpf is set to appear before the Senate Banking Committee next week to answer questions about the bank's sales practices. It is unclear, though, right now if this new investigation will lead to criminal charges. Allison.
Thanks, Erica. And we have followed every development of the Wells Fargo banking scandal since the beginning. For all of our coverage, search for this story on our homepage of WSOC-TV.com. Tonight, a Huntersville teenager is charged in a crash that killed his girlfriend last month. Calvin McCollum is charged with misdemeanor death by vehicle, reckless driving, and not having an operator's license. The accident report says the 17-year-old crossed the center line on McCoy Road into the path of another car. We spoke to McCollum's mother today, who says he swerved to miss another car.
I didn't even know my son was being charged. I learned from other people calling me about it.
McCollum had serious injuries from the crash. His 14-year-old girlfriend, Anjanea Reel, died on impact. The South Carolina Supreme Court has publicly reprimanded a Chester County magistrate who is the wife of the sheriff. Today's ruling states that Angel Underwood must tell every defendant that her husband is Chester County Sheriff Alex Underwood. An investigation started after Underwood's judge code was used in more than 100 sheriff's office cases after her husband became sheriff in 2013. You'll remember in 2014, former Mayor Marianne Tolbert sued Sheriff Alex Underwood, claiming he sexually assaulted her and coerced her to have sex. His attorneys say Tolbert filed a lawsuit after she didn't get the chief deputy job. High levels of arsenic were found in samples taken near a Duke Energy coal ash pond. The elevated levels were found near the company's Bucksteam station, which is in Rowan County. And today the riverkeeper told us the water tested was contaminated with arsenic 4 times higher than safety standard. Over in Severe Weather Center 9, Chief Meteorologist Steve Udelson says there's something brewing out there in the tropics, but not going to bring us any rain.
Not helping us out at all, Allison. All the rain is east of I-95, hugging the coast, and that's where it will pretty much stay the next couple of days. We are high and dry, especially from Charlotte north and west. There is a fair amount of humidity out there, and notice that these percentages are highest south and east of town, closer to where that storm is, closer to where the moisture is. No issue with fog just yet, but I believe overnight tonight, as has been the case the last few nights, that blanket of low clouds will once again form really south of I-85, south and east of Charlotte. Notice visibility is about a half mile, Monroe, Lancaster, but same out toward Chesterfield, and that's where the greatest risk for fog will be first thing tomorrow morning. For the rest of us, it's just low clouds. Sun up not until almost 10 after 7. We'll be in the mid-60s at 6 a.m. By the end of the morning drive, already the mid-70s. The low clouds begin to break, and once they do, like today, temperatures will once again soar into the upper 80s without much of a problem. Probably a few notches cooler than today. We hit 91 officially in Charlotte. Rain chances remain slim. But boy, allergy counts remain high for mold, also growing for ragweed, a main fall problem here in the Carolinas. Watch these futurecast temperatures. By lunchtime, we've got already 80 to 83 degrees. Our average high in and around Charlotte is 82. And again, we'll be there by lunchtime, on our way to the upper 80s tomorrow afternoon. The only thing that resembles comfortable will be up in the mountains, where readings will be in the 70s. But in spite of that, again, rain showers are going to be tough to find. A few showers all over the high country, very little, if anything, south and east into the metro. There'll be some clouds, but that's really about it. So let's get neighborhood specific. West End, where our average is only 82. We'll be there by lunchtime, on our way to highs in the upper 80s and rain chances awfully slim. Indian Trail, same story with highs in the upper 80s. Greatly doubt we'll see any rain. Rockingham, maybe a shower, a little closer to where the storm is, but I'm afraid not close enough to bring any real beneficial rain. Temperatures will be in the middle 80s. As you look ahead into Friday, again, a fair amount of clouds, some mountain showers. This is becoming a familiar pattern, right? And then we'll get the sun in the afternoon. Good night for Friday night football. We'll be dry as temperatures fall out of the 80s into the 70s. And a look ahead to the weekend. If you have outdoor plans, chances are you're fine. A couple of showers or storms around Saturday afternoon, a better chance, slightly better, as we head into Sunday. Putting it all together for you, still no lack of warmth. We'll see highs well into the 80s right through the weekend into early next week. As far as a break in the heat, I believe that'll be coming as we head toward the early to middle part of next week. Behind Monday's front, we'll get a little taste of fall. That, again, lasts just a couple of days.
Well, we'll be heading into the back half of September pretty soon.
They'll be coming more often.
Thanks, Steve.
Yeah.
Homegrown terrorists inspired by ISIS targeting people at vulnerable public places. The way technology is being used to recruit them. Whistleblower 9 investigates a medical mistake that could have been deadly.
You did not authorize that. No.
We pushed for answers after the patient's chart was changed to do not resuscitate. And then BB gun pellet shot at a CMS bus packed with children. The panic it caused as parents rushed to make sure their kids were okay. CMPD says a teenager fired a BB gun at a school bus filled with children. It happened this morning at a bus as a bus was carrying 48 children to Idlewild Elementary. Investigators say that 17-year-old Jose Delgado told them that he was trying to hit a target in his yard. Parents rushed to make sure their children were okay.
It makes me want to put a shell around them more, more like a bubble, a protective guard around them more.
Students were shaken, but thankfully not hurt. New tonight, a primary school was dedicated today in Haiti in honor of 2 local children who were killed in a horrible crash. Dobbs and Reed Eddings, the sons of a Forest Hill Church pastor, died in May of last year. After members of the community donated money to the Mission of Hope Haiti, their parents were able to open the Dobbs and Reed Primary School in honor of the two boys. Transportation officials in South Carolina are getting a head start on snow prep. Today, crews did a dry run in Rock Hill, making sure plows, spreaders, snow, and ice equipment are all working. They also trained 15 new employees. The DOT officials say it's critical to train the crews now.
We want them to be familiar with the way that they operate and as safe as they possibly can be.
The Rock Hill DOT office has 101 employees on call and 31 trucks to handle winter weather. A Charlotte patient's chart changed to do not resuscitate.
I had never authorized it.
Whistleblower 9 investigates the potentially deadly mistake. Radicalized individuals targeting people in the U.S., what lawmakers say is leading to more terrorist attacks. Plus, first the NCAA, now the ACC championship game pulled out of Charlotte. The massive amount of money it's costing the city as the fallout over House Bill 2 continues.
Now, from the news team that's covering the Carolinas, this is Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10:30.
We're staying on top of two major breaking stories. Tomorrow, this man charged with the murder of a Shelby police officer will be arraigned in court in Rhode Island. Irving Fenner Jr. will have the opportunity then to waive extradition back to North Carolina, where the district attorney tells us he will seek the death penalty. Also breaking, sources say a man found shot and killed in a Charlotte hotel had been interviewed about the robbery and shooting of a local teacher just days earlier. We're asking police how the two cases are connected. Another major blow to Charlotte because of HB2. The ACC football championship gone, along with millions of dollars. The Atlantic Coast Conference is also pulling 10 conference championship games across the state. And this decision comes just 2 days after the NCAA pulled events as well. Tonight, anchor Scott Wickersham explains the economic hit for Charlotte over House Bill 2.
People across North Carolina are shocked tonight to hear the news that another big event is leaving over HB2. Fans say the atmosphere was incredible at Bank of America Stadium for the ACC championship last year, and they believe Charlotte is the best place to have it. Some are furious, saying that politics got in the way here. But whichever side of the issue you're on, everybody agrees that losing the big game is a blow, both economically, but even more so for the continued negative attention it brings to North Carolina. One fan was disgusted at the change.
The ridiculousness of the ACC pulling the game from Charlotte, it hurts.
Now here's part of a statement from ACC Commissioner John Swafford. He said the ACC Council of Presidents made it clear that the core values of this league are of the utmost importance, and the opposition to any form of discrimination is paramount. That last comment is a push to repeal the law. Now, Charlotte Mayor Jennifer Roberts tweeted today saying how many companies and sports organizations have to leave NC before the governor and NCGA leadership wake up to the 21st century and repeal HB2. The ACC has not publicly announced its backup plan for a city to host, but the reports say the Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida could be the new home for the football game.
The ACC championship game brought in $32 million last year for Charlotte with 54,000 visitors. Earlier this summer, the NBA also moved the 2017 All-Star game from the city, some say with a price tag of $100 million. PayPal also canceled a planned office that would have added 400 jobs in Charlotte. You can read our continuing coverage of HB2 and the impact here on WSOC-TV.com. Tomorrow, former Charlotte Mayor Patrick Cannon will be released from prison. Channel 9 broke the story last week. Cannon will initially be confined to his home in Ballantyne. In January, he'll begin a 2-year supervised release period and report to a probation officer. Cannon will have only served half of his 44-month sentence for accepting bribes while mayor. Eyewitness News reporter Joe Bruno will be in Morgantown, West Virginia tomorrow, awaiting Cannon's release. His live coverage will begin tomorrow on Eyewitness News Daybreak starting at 4:30 a.m. Today, Jonathan Farrell's family marked the 3rd anniversary of his death here in Charlotte. Last year, Carrick's manslaughter trial was declared a mistrial and the charges dropped. Since then, the family says they switched their focus to the Jonathan Ferrell Foundation that helps children in Florida. They believe the community service would have made Jonathan proud.
Jonathan would be very happy. He would say, "Mama, let's do this. We could do more."
The Ferrell family is also speaking out against gun violence. Tomorrow, they'll testify before a subcommittee in South Carolina. New tonight, police are looking for a suspect after reports show they strangled someone in the middle of the day in Ballantyne. A 24-year-old woman told police a man she did not know assaulted her Monday afternoon while at the Ballantyne Resort Hotel. It's unclear how serious her injuries are or if anything was taken in that assault. New tonight, the federal judge overseeing the trial of accused Charleston church shooter Dylan Roof wants a list of potential witnesses before jury selection. The judge wants the list included on a jury questionnaire to find out if potential jurors know any witnesses. The information would not be shared between the defense and the prosecution. Jurors will be selected from a pool of about 3,000 later on this month. Search warrants show investigators took a knife set, a computer tower, and a video camera from a North Carolina father's home who is charged with his daughter's murder. Officials say Seth Pickering stabbed his 6-year-old daughter Lila on the Blue Ridge Parkway last Friday. Officials also took evidence from his car.
Lila was extremely happy-go-lucky. She was one that, if it didn't matter what your mood was, she could make you smile.
Pickering says he killed Lila so no one could take her from him. Her mother says she planned to move to Florida next week. Pickering could face life in prison or the death penalty. New at 10:30, officials say a Pageland woman was killed in a 3-car collision this morning in Lancaster County. Investigators say a car traveling west on Pageland Highway swerved and hit Norma Maury's car head on. She was pronounced dead at the scene. 2 others were rushed to the hospital, but they're expected to be okay. We're checking with police to see if anyone could face charges. A driver accused of slamming his vehicle into 3 police officers at an Arizona gas station has been denied bond. Police say Mark Payne scuffled with one of the officers who managed to jump out of the way. The 2 officers who were hit have serious injuries, but they're expected to survive. One was working his first day on the job. A suspended UNC Tar Heel football player turned himself in today after another student claimed he raped her last winter. Linebacker Alan Artis is now charged, and the 18-year-old victim or accuser says UNC leaders and investigators failed to act appropriately after the incident was first reported. Authorities say the state crime lab never processed her rape kit.
At some point, hopefully, I can have a conversation with the alleged victim in this case and her lawyer about how we'll proceed from here.
Artis is scheduled to be in court later this month. Starting next week, Samsung Galaxy Note 7 users in South Korea will get a new phone that will not catch fire while charging. Leaders announced a new software update for the phones that were just released a month ago. It will only allow the phones to be charged up to 60% to prevent batteries from overheating. It's unclear when that update will be available here in the U.S. Because of recent attacks across the U.S. and Canada, Arlington National Cemetery is making huge changes to its security. Starting in November, anyone entering the cemetery will go through security screenings, and all drivers must show ID. Pedestrians will only be allowed to go in at certain access points. A homegrown lone wolf terror attack is what keeps top Homeland Security officials up at night. New at 10:30, Channel 9's George Colley reports lawmakers are examining what's behind the new rise in radicalized terrorists.
Terror attacks in Boston, Orlando, and San Bernardino carried out by radicalized individuals against civilians in vulnerable public places. Dozens killed, hundreds injured. Include recent attacks in Nice, France, and Istanbul, Turkey, and it's becoming the new template for terror worldwide.
Using a country's own population against itself.
At a congressional hearing today, Georgia Congressman Jody Hice mentioned the example of Leon Nathan Davis, the Georgia man arrested in 2015 after buying an airplane ticket to Turkey, where he was hoping to join ISIS. Davis converted to Islam while in prison for cocaine trafficking, but wasn't exposed to radicalized views until having access to social media when he got out.
That's what we're trying to deal with, is how can we be more effective to prevent the luring and the radicalization of American citizens, particularly online.
We learned at this hearing today that the FBI has more than 800 ISIS-related investigations ongoing throughout the United States. More than 250 Americans have joined or have tried to join ISIS overseas to fight in Syria, and 20 have been killed. Massachusetts Congressman Stephen Lynch says enhancing the vetting process for immigrants could help, but would not have done much to stop the Tsarnaev brothers from setting off twin bombs at the Boston Marathon.
They were adolescents at the time when they first came in, and then were radicalized after they had become United States citizens. So in that case, it's extremely difficult.
In Washington, George Colley, Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
Last year, a Morganton teen was arrested accused of planning attacks to support ISIS. Police arrested Justin Sullivan after his father called 911, saying he noticed the smell of gasoline inside their home. Federal investigators say the 19-year-old planned to kill 1,000 people. We're staying on top of breaking news out of Wilmington, where police issued an Amber Alert for a 6-year-old girl. Come over and take a look. Police believe Stephanie Leneth Lopez Castro was abducted by an unknown white male. She's 4 feet tall and weighs 39 pounds. She has black hair and brown eyes and was last seen wearing a white t-shirt, pink shorts, and black flip-flops. New at 10:30, officials now say a Brooklyn College student died from a rare brain-eating amoeba after she swam in a Maryland creek. They say 19-year-old Carrie Stoutenberg got the infection after visiting Cecil County in August. She passed away August 31st. She was a sophomore majoring in film. There have only been 138 cases of the brain-eating amoeba in more than 50 years. Only 3 people have survived. Officials say even though it's rare, you should hold your nose or use nose plugs when jumping into any river, lake, or stream. You'll remember an Ohio teenager died this summer after contracting the brain-eating amoeba after visiting the Whitewater Center in West Charlotte in June. It prompted the center to close its whitewater rapids for months to properly clean and drain the water. This weekend, police in Morrisville are giving the community an opportunity to get rid of old medication and prevent prescription drug abuse. A drug take-back event will be held Saturday in front of Target on NC 150. The event runs from 10 a.m. until 2 p.m. There's also a permanent drug drop box at the police station on West Iredell Avenue. The service is free and anonymous. Football season is now well underway, and Panthers pride is palpable, especially on Charlotte roadways. Today, the DMV told us almost 1,700 drivers have ordered these Keep Pounding license plates. The state offers about 500 custom tags, but the head of the DMV is partial to this one.
Clearly, it's the best one in the state, right?
Well, I'm sure it is. Absolutely.
The DMV started issuing them a few months ago.
For the 76th time this summer, we hit 90 degrees in the Charlotte area. We are climbing the list, now tied for 4th most. I'll show you how much further we'll go up that list.
A Charlotte patient's chart changed to do not resuscitate. Whistleblower 9 investigates the medical mistake that could have turned deadly. A Charlotte man turned to Whistleblower 9 after he says his doctor put a do not resuscitate order on his medical chart that he didn't even authorize. He was at CMC's Mercy Hospital like any other patient, and Whistleblower 9 investigator Paul Boyd went to the hospital to find out how this potentially deadly mistake could happen.
John Kroll checked into CMC Mercy in July to treat a skin infection and required overnight hospitalization. The 57-year-old says everything was going fine until a nurse came into his room the second night and tried to put a do not resuscitate bracelet on his wrist.
I had never authorized it.
Kroll shared his medical records with Whistleblower 9, and sure enough, the do not resuscitate and do not intubate orders appear twice, along with this variation, no code blue. The documents reveal the potentially life-ending order was in effect at least 23 hours. You did not authorize that?
No. I was scared, terrified, actually. I was angry. I felt violated.
Kroll says his doctor asked him about a DNR, but says he never made a decision and never signed any documents.
No one has been able to tell me how this happened.
Kroll brought his concerns to Carolina's healthcare system and eventually received this letter. CHS says there was a miscommunication, but Kroll says it was a blatant mistake.
I want them to start requiring with every doctor talking to every patient about this subject that the proper documentation is required and signed and documented in the patient's file.
Whistleblower 9 investigated the doctor who CHS says initiated the DNR order. Turns out he just graduated from medical school last year and is working under a resident training license. Kroll says the hospital made a follow-up phone call to him saying their system will be better because he spoke out.
You get the sense they know they made a mistake?
Oh yeah, without question.
Paul Boyd, Channel 9 Eyewitness News at 10.
We just received a statement this afternoon from Carolina's healthcare systems. It says, in part, we are committed to working diligently and directly with the patient to answer questions and resolve any issues. We encourage open communication and patient feedback as it helps us continuously improve our processes. We have posted the entire statement on WSOC-TV.com. As for Kroll, he says after leaving the hospital, he submitted an advance directive that specifically outlines his wishes and functions as a living will. New powerful video tonight of a school bus and a pickup colliding in Winston-Salem. Police and Good Samaritans jumped into action to save the driver of the truck trapped in the fiery vehicle last week. The driver had minor injuries. 2 students on the bus were okay. The bus driver is now facing charges. South Carolina is in for another round of intense rain less than 2 weeks after Tropical Storm Hermine flooded parts of the coastline. These are NASA images showing a time lapse of Tropical Storm Julia forming over Florida. As it slowly moves north, forecasters expect her to drop 4 to 8 inches of rain on South Carolina through Friday. And Chief Meteorologist Steve Beetleson is in Severe Weather Center 9, where he just got an update on the tropics for us tonight.
Yeah, Allison, the 11 o'clock update is in a little bit early. Top sustained winds are still at 40 miles per hour. The center of the system now about 50 miles southeast of Charleston. It is moving east-northeast, slowing down a little bit. This storm is going to be sitting off our coast for another couple of days. We basically have to wait for itself to rain itself out. But for the Charlotte area, we will not be seeing any of that rain as badly as we could use it. Skies tonight are essentially clear. And again, aside from it being incredibly hot this year, 8th warmest on record, it is also the 9th driest. We'll be getting an update from the National Weather Service tomorrow on where we stand on drought. We'll let you know what that says. Mid to upper 60s in most neighborhoods first thing tomorrow morning. Closer to 70 south and east of town at Highway 74, Highway 9, Chester to Chesterfield. There are your warmer spots. Cool spots, of course, up in the high country will be around 60 degrees. Sun up a little after 7 a.m. We'll be in the lower 70s at that point, mid 70s by 8 o'clock. And again, tomorrow, much like today, plenty of sunshine and a few showers may pop in the mountains. That's really about it. Most neighborhoods going dry yet again. A very common theme so far late summer, early into fall. More heat will be in the upper 80s. This is well above our average, which is only 82 degrees. Neighborhood forecast for Weddington, we're looking at highs in the mid to upper 80s. Much like today, south and east of Charlotte, there may be some low clouds and fog, but that won't last nearly as long as it did today. Hickory forecasting temperatures in the middle 80s. Again, perhaps a quick bout of fog, and then mainly sunny skies. On Friday, same story. Low clouds early, then some afternoon sun. Couple showers possible in the mountains, and that should really be about it. As we head through the afternoon and evening Friday, we will be dry. On the weekend, we'll be watching a cold front head our way. Slightest chance of an afternoon shower or storm Saturday. A slightly better chance on Sunday, but really not enough to interfere with plans. And if you're heading to the stadium for the home opener against the Niners, I think we'll be quiet. Only a 20% chance of rain, more than likely to wait till after the game. Temperatures will be rising from the 70s into the 80s as we head through the game on Sunday. So your 5-day forecast keeps us in some sun, also above average temperatures, although at least closer to average as we head into the first part of the weekend. If you're looking for a taste of fall, you may be waiting until next week as temperatures come down a little bit, and so will the humidity.
Just a little bit longer of waiting, and then we'll finally
we'll get a break.
Fall air. Thanks, Steve. We'll be right back.
Follow us on Twitter to keep up with breaking news, weather, and all the top stories of the day. Join the conversation and tweet us at WSOC-TV.
Panthers quarterback Cam Newton quickly grew tired of answering questions about the hits he took in Denver, the Broncos' punishment meted out today, and how the training staff handled all the big hits he took. As he is wont to do, Cam wanted to look ahead to San Francisco and the challenge of getting back to 500 with a win against the 49ers. He said health-wise, he felt unbelievable. Rewatching the brutal hits he took to the head against Denver, though, it makes Cam seem superhuman. But he's not. He's human with many years ahead of him. He was asked about the cumulative long-term effects of playing in the NFL. He wouldn't entertain the question.
I'm not here to, worry about retirement plans. I'm not here to worry about pensions. No, I'm not here to worry about workers' comp. I'm here to win football games, simple and plain.
In order to win against San Francisco, the Panthers need to be ready for Chip Kelly's up-tempo offense. If there's one team outside his division that's familiar with Kelly, it's the Panthers, who faced his Eagles twice during the past 2 seasons. One a blowout loss in Philadelphia, the other a comfortable win here at home. And while the personnel has changed, Kelly's philosophy hasn't. One way to combat the 49ers' tempo Sunday, string together long drives on offense.
You go 3 and out and then put your defense back out there and they sustain a couple of drives. That can be tough on your defense. So we've got to be able to drive it and control the pace at our tempo as well.
Some tough news about one of our Big 22 players to watch. This afternoon, an MRI revealed Monroe quarterback Zephaniah Wall had a torn ACL. Wall's an electric playmaker for the defending 2A state champion Redhawks. His mother told us he was running out of bounds Thursday in a win over Weddington, planted his leg and his knee buckled. Zeph told me he's going to attack his rehab and come back stronger than ever. NASCAR announced significant rule changes today that, if broken, could severely impact drivers competing in the chase for the championship. Now stay with me because these things get confusing. If the winning car fails the post-race laser inspection, or if more than 3 of 20 lug nuts are not securely in place on the car, the team keeps the win. But it's a win in what NASCAR calls an encumbered finish, which means it wouldn't automatically advance that team to the next round of the chase. It's a safety issue. Some pit crews don't tighten all the lug nuts during pit stops to save time, which could obviously pose a danger on the track. These rule changes effective immediately. The chase begins Sunday in Chicago. So that's very interesting.
Make
Just
sure you
days
tighten them now.
To change the rules.
Exactly. Right before the chase.
Wow. Okay. These rules will not change. I just don't see much in the way of rain coming our way, and I wish we could. Upper 80s tomorrow, lower to mid 80s over the weekend. Couple of storms possible Sunday, slightly better chance on Monday. I tell you what, it has been that kind of summer where buying raindrops
Yeah. How much
is
do they
not
go
happening.
for these days?
The price is going up because the demand is up, supply is not.
Thanks, Steve. Thanks for making Channel 9 your choice at 10. We'll see you back here tomorrow night.